This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma. Updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com, and if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Leo and Leo Rising, welcome to your horoscope for the full lunar eclipse happening in Taurus on November the 8th at 2 minutes past 10 p.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So we're going to have a little look back at your 10th house, Leo. It's where we're most publicly perceived. It can be our career, our life's work, our legacy, that kind of area. The 10th sits right at the top of a birth chart, so it's the most visible part of ourselves. This is the third installment of a series of eclipses that have been playing out here for the past 12 months. Maybe if you cast your mind back to November the 19th-ish of 2021 and think about yourself in regard to your legacy, your career, your public perception, how folks were interacting with your work, and what moments happened there. So November the 19th and then April the 30th of this year. So 6 months ago-ish, a year ago-ish. Think back and come to understand that this is part of a process. This is part of a process of the universe, of, a karmic redirection in some way. That the planetary bodies, that the luminaries are short-circuiting their power in order to right our path, perhaps if we're down a beaten track that we needn't be on anymore, or if there's, roadblocks or anything like that. So eclipses don't always have to be hard. They can actually sometimes be really beneficial, and you might find yourself, with in a windfall space of going, oh golly, like that's great. All of this opportunity has just flooded in. I didn't really, I've just been doing the same thing that I've been doing, but there's been a sort of external activation or recognition, maybe, of this part of your life. We are also going to take a little look over at your 7th house, though, your house of relationship. Saturn is there still. Saturn has stationed direct on the 23rd of October, so there's forward movement again. Forward movement with Saturn, though, remember, that's restriction and boundaries. So the tarot card for that point is the 6 of Swords. So there is that real kind of decision to move away from choppy water, choppy emotional turbulence. So this is a reminder of that need. And I wonder what the relationship is between your most public self and your relationships, because this is the point of contention. Yeah. I'm going to show you the intuitive tarot in a minute, because actually, you know what? I may as well just dive into it because it's doubled up. I got the Magician for you, which is really gorgeous. I got the Queen of Swords, the 6 of Pentacles, and the 7 of Pentacles. So what I can see here, first of all, I want to talk about the 6 of Pentacles, which is the point in the zodiac that this lunation is taking place. This is where the eclipse is happening, in this 6 of Pentacles space. The 6 of Pentacles is about giving, receiving. When you have enough, you pay it forward. When you need a helping hand, you don't fear, you reach out and someone will take care of it for you. That's a nutshell of the energy of the 6 of Pentacles. For this to be related to your legacy, to your 10th house, where we, kind of tend to our life's work, maybe there is maybe there's a re-examination of the relationship that you have with that part of you, and maybe there's a re-examination, or there's going to be some encouragement to look at this and see how much you're giving out and weigh it up with how much you're getting back. And this could be from the folks that are consuming your legacy, your clients, it could be your work colleagues who you're working with. But this is, there's something here about like a sort of energetic exchange. And because it's in that square with Saturn in your relationships, I wonder if there's a tryst or a push and pull between your relationships right now and your legacy. The Magician is here to solidify the notion, the idea, the belief that you are a magic maker, Leo. You really are. What you do for all of us, how you teach us to self-express, how you lead from your heart, and how you highlight the importance of the individual in your work is beautiful. And we've got so much to thank you for that. That's magic. That is creation. That is, it takes its toll to create these spaces and to, to be doing it for others in order for them to feel alive and for them to have access to expressing, there's some coldness here, there's some sharpness, and I'm looking at Aquarius as an air sign, so there's this Queen of Swords is potentially someone external to you. On the back of the deck, you've got the Knight of Swords as well. So there's two court cards from the Sword family here. They're both bringing with them truth. They're both bringing with them a sharpness to that presentation. The Queen of Swords is working from empathy and working from care, but also their brain. There's something about like a undeniable reality here that perhaps has stood in the way or stopped the magic from flowing in some sense. As I'm talking about this, think about your relationships, think about your legacy. Those are the two houses that are really being activated at this eclipse, and there's it's a short circuit. To have the 6 and then the 7 of Pentacles, that's a nice sort of procession. But the 7 of Pentacles is I get feelings of frustration when the 7 of Pentacles comes out. I get a reminder of patience when the 7 of Pentacles comes out. You've just planted. In this image, there's, tending to the garden, and a feeling of exhaustion and trepidation of the weight. What if these roots don't take? That's what I feel here for you. I'm very reminded of another reading, and perhaps it was maybe the last eclipse reading, but this formation in the sky and these cards that have come out are sort of leading us to the same place. So let's consider that place, and let's gently predict that this eclipse is going to bring clarity. It's going to bring some a new perspective, or a different, guiding you in a different way perhaps than the path that you're on now. And this could just be the way that you are relating to the work at the moment. But yeah, I feel like I'm sort of repeating myself. It feels like a really kind of similar framework, a similar setup to what we've experienced before. I guess the lesson here would be that it's round 3. And as I look at the chart for this eclipse, yeah, it's sort of home and relationships and your public self. There's a disparity there. And I feel that there's the light in Scorpio, the light in your fourth house, the sun's in your fourth right now. There's light that's being shed on your legacy, on your public self, that is some way intertwined, tied in with your ancestry or your lineage. And this can be read in many different ways. It might be from the lineage of the work that you do, perhaps the tradition, the grand tradition of the work that you're doing. There's a real emotional review that's happening here. The sun's nearly in conjunction with Mercury too, the messenger of spirit land. So perhaps you're receiving perhaps some messages from your idols, perhaps from folks that have trod the path that you've trod on. And this is forming this square with this Saturn in your relationships too. So that revolutionary, that sort of rebel, and that's the Uranus in Taurus. That part, that charge that has been locked into your environment, you're tied into your experience. I would see that at this eclipse, there's going to be a reconfiguration of your emotional attachment to that. And if you're being restricted by your relationships, if your relationships at the moment have had some things to say about what it is that you're putting out there, what it is that you're creating legacy with, if there's been boundaries that you've had to set up with them in order to keep going, then I think that at this eclipse, that's going to come into your forefront. You're going to come to recognize the juggling act that you've perhaps been having to do here. I mean, it could also be a windfall. You might have some supercharge of good luck or opportunity that shows up for you in your career zone, in your most public phase. And hand in hand, that could then send energy back into your relationships and cause some friction. But I keep looking at the sun in Scorpio, and I think that I'll show you the tarot card for where the sun is. It's the Six of Cups. And this is the card of nostalgia. This is the card of, best friends when you were 5, of remembering back to times gone by, remembering back to the good old days. That's a nice way to say that's the Six of Cups energy. So in ancestry that run in your lineage, what runs through you, where you've come from, what areas of interest, like what is the grand tradition that you're following, that you're contributing to? It might be there might be a message in here from that grand tradition. Perhaps there's mentors from times gone by, or perhaps there's folks in that line of work that you respect, and you respect their ideas and you respect their input. Yeah, it's kind of like, if we think of it literally, the Earth's getting in the way of that light from Scorpio onto the moon in Taurus in your 10th house. It's almost like a reality check. There's something, it's almost like a sort of enforced grounding, or it's like, yeah, I feel that there is folks that love you and that care about you, and they might have something to say, or there might be some difficult conversations that might appear around this eclipse for you, Leo. So yeah, sit with that. And yeah, really think back to November 19th, think back to April 30th. Think back to the conversations that you were having in your relationships, and go over what they were and how you responded, publicly. And I wonder if there's anything that needs to be sort of gone over again. You know, this is, as I said, this is like the third in a series of these eclipses. So this is ground that we've covered before, but it's coming up again. And it's that very similar square with Saturn, you know, there's intensity here. So think about your relationships, think about your lineage, you know, the ancestry of the work that you're engaged in, the greats. And what are they putting forward? What are they telling you? How can you bring that into your light, into your 10th house, into your revolutionary ideas of that space? Yeah, that's the reading, Leo. I've got to go. Big fat eclipse kisses. I know that they can be really intense. I hope that you're doing all right. Head over to umaruby.com and get your birth chart read. You can go to the readings page and pick your journey. There's multiple different options depending if you want to talk about emotions or magic or spirit, soul, what it is you might be here for. There's many different options that we can explore. But I will be with you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Sagittarius. So this one we have activation, we have access to. We can use the energy of the new moon in Sagittarius to move forward from whatever it is that might be showing up here at this eclipse. You've got my support, you've got my love always. I'll speak to you soon, Leo. Bye.